Northview was launched in 1999 in a newly built YMCA in Briargate. Members from Austin Bluffs, First, and Faith E Free joined together in this endeavor. Later that year, God brought together two church planters, Pastors John Goss and Clarence Schuler. These men led during the foundational years of Northview. In 2002, God called Greg Spencer to be pastor of Northview. Greg, his wife Cindy, and their daughters Katie and Kelsey arrived and began serving. The Spencers served at Northview for 8 years. During that time, Northview's attendance grew significantly, and in 2004 the congregation called Todd Erlinson as our youth and worship pastor. During Pastor Greg's time at Northview, the church began partnering with Steve and Betty to take missions trips to Tecate, Mexico. The church enjoyed many fun events, including softball, Awana activities, youth events, and Bible studies. At the end of 2010, the Spencers left the snow behind and moved to Arizona. Pastor Rick Hum stepped in and served as interim pastor. After several months, Northview selected Brandon Marquette to fill the role of pastor. Brandon and his family, Elena, Logan, Connor, and Alexis, moved from Indiana to Colorado Springs. John Donovan served as worship director during this time. During his time at Northview, Pastor Brandon emphasized discipleship, encouraging people to be active in discipleship relationships. This time also saw great hardship with forest fires and Jed Morgan's war injury in Afghanistan. We saw the church join together in prayer and rejoicing. There were also times of great fun and service to our community through outreach and ministry with the YMCA. Northview's men's and women's ministries grew numerically and spiritually during this time. Northview's softball team won the YMCA Church League with a 14-0 record in 2014. We also hosted our first family retreat at Spring Canyon Retreat and Conference Center. Pastor Brandon's time included a lot of pirates, yes I said pirates, practical jokes about his beloved Velvet Elvis, and of course, we celebrated the royalty who call Northview home. There were many memorable men's and women's ministry events, fun and spiritually uplifting men's and women's retreats, more seasons of Church League summer softball, and effective outreach and ministry at New Dawn, Mercy's Gate, and the Y. After 6 years of service at Northview, Brandon was called to attend Air Force training in Montgomery, Alabama. The Marquettes and the famous Velvet Elvis moved away in May of 2017. Rick Hum agreed to once again serve as our interim pastor. Welcome back, Rick. In January of 2018, Northview welcomed Timothy Hawkins as pastor, along with his wife Kayla and their 2 sons, Jameson and Whitman. During Tim's time as pastor, the church focused on outreach, especially with the YMCA and its staff. The relationship with the Y was greatly enriched under Tim's leadership. We celebrated many events during this time, living as a church body and caring for one another. Pastor Tim served at Northview until March of 2019. We celebrated Northview's 20th anniversary, rejoicing over God's abundant blessing on our church. He's back. Rick Hum once again stepped in as interim pastor when Pastor Tim left. Brian Sharp, his wife Tamina, and their 5 kids came to Northview in the beginning of 2020, right before COVID hit the world. He led our church through a transition to live streaming and keeping everyone connected. We enjoyed birthday and graduation parades, and the start of a new tradition with a summer outdoor service in the woods. We've been privileged to be led in worship by 2 worship leaders during this time, Ed Melendez and Jeremiah Cope. Our kids' ministries have grown too, training kids to follow Jesus. And the church is more active in the Rocky Mountain district of the Evangelical Free Church. There has been high emphasis on connection through community groups, affinity groups, and discipleship relationships. And what is it with this church and Elvis? He even showed up at a women's ministry event. The youth group attended Challenge KC, where they worshiped and learned with other teens from across the country. Our junior high and senior high youth groups are growing under the direction of Marcus and Italia Bufano and Pastor Brian. The church has grown significantly in the last 2 years, and we are thankful to welcome many new people to our church family. We've also celebrated new life in Christ. On April 30th, the Northview family voted to merge with our brothers and sisters in Christ at Incline Church. What's the next destination on the journey of Northview? The road continues. Starting next week, we'll be Magnify, but the purpose remains the same as the day Northview was launched 24 years ago. Go and make disciples of Jesus.